My name is Ralph Bouquet, and I am coming to you from the polar ice cap, formerly known as Boston. Thankfully, I'm just kidding, it's actually warmed up now, finally. And I'm here to talk to you today about Nova Labs. This is my information, my email, and you can also contact me on Twitter. And before I really start talking about Nova Labs, I just want to give a bit of a background and sort of tell you and explain where Nova Labs fits within the universe of Nova. So Nova is the popular science TV series on PBS. We've been on the air for over 40 years now, educating and entertaining millions of television viewers with stories of scientific exploration. And within this universe, over the last 15 years, we've really extended into the digital space with Nova Next, which is about sort of scientific journalism, Nova Education, where we produce and repurpose a lot of the content from the TV show and make it available for teachers to use in the classroom. And now Nova Labs, which is our foray into the interactive media and gaming space. And so I'm going to talk exclusively about Nova Labs and what we're doing in classrooms and how these projects are sort of developed. And so basic definition for Nova Labs would be it's a free digital platform that engages teens and lifelong learners in games and interactives that foster authentic scientific exploration. And so Nova Labs is the product of collaboration between scientists, developers, content producers, and teachers to increase student interest in STEM careers and provide support for educators in the classroom. Now we really excited that we just launched our sixth lab on evolution this week, and it now joins the collection of other labs that include focus on content such as cybersecurity, RNA, clouds, energy, and our first lab, which was on the sun. Can everybody see this? All right. Okay. He's up. Okay. So let me just continue and talk about why games for STEM. So I guess I really want to talk about why it's important that we consider games as a powerful educational learning tool. And one of the reasons why I think they're so effective is because games provide a safe space for trial and error. There's no other sort of condition or context in the classroom where students can sort of do the experimentation that's necessary to really learn and understand the scientific process. And games allow for that safe space. All right, great, thank you so much. The second reason is that low-performing students show increased engagement when games are used in the classroom setting. So this is very important of sort of moving the bottom half of students up to sort of a much better position when it comes to content understanding and also skill development as well. Third thing is that video games foster positive collaboration between students. And I mean, you can see this, walk into any classroom, you throw a game out there and students will begin collaborating in a way that they might not in other settings. And finally, very important fact, that games really have a positive learning effect. So in this Gates Foundation study, and I think it's been referenced several of the points throughout the conference, but learning achievement increased by 12% in learning conditions where students had games aligned to content versus conditions which they didn't. And so 12% is huge. That's an entire letter grade of a difference that including games aligned to content does. That's the effect that they can have. And so I want to sort of give you a really quick glance into what it is that we're building, how we're sort of meeting these needs with this trailer from our Evolution Lab.
Everywhere you go on this planet, on land, underground, in the air, and in the water, there's more and more life to be found. And all of it, even you, is shaped by the most incredible of forces, evolution. In Nova's Evolution Lab, you'll be climbing around the tree of life. Learn the basics from our videos, then work your way through 6 missions using physical traits and DNA to build out portions of the tree. Use the evidence for evolution, like fossils and where species live on Earth today, to figure out how organisms are related. Use the tree of life to battle disease, save someone's life, and probe the origins of humanity. Then conduct your own research with Deep Tree, a massive interactive tree containing over 70,000 species, each one a story of life on Earth. Play this lab, build the tree of life, which is your family tree, and discover just how connected you are to everything that's alive and everything that's ever lived.
Right. So this is the Evolution Lab. We just launched it this week, so definitely, if you want to check it out, there's information about it on the table next to the drinks in the lobby. But the Evolution Lab uses a phylogeny game and an interactive tree of life to help students explore the relationships between species and the history of life on Earth. And I think it's one of the best examples of sort of the four elements that we focus on when creating a lab. And I'm sort of going to discuss what those four elements are. So the first element when we develop a lab is using real data. So we use data to make real-world connections and provide context and also challenge kids to use it to solve problems. So these are just examples of four of the labs. On the left side are two labs that we developed with NASA. The first one on the top is the Sun Lab, where students actually use data from the Solar Dynamics Observatory and can actually observe the sun in real time. This data is dynamic. It changes every day. On the bottom is the Cloud Lab, where students are using NASA's Earth satellites to track storms and learn about how these storms develop. On the top right is an example of the RNA Lab, which we developed on the Eterna game engine. And this was a crowdsourced game that's developed at Carnegie Mellon University, in which players are actually contributing to building RNA molecules and figuring out ways in which they can use RNA molecules to actually create therapies. And so players in this game are actually contributing to real science that's being done in labs. And then on the bottom is the Energy Lab, which we partnered with the Department of Energy to create a game in where students are designing a renewable energy system for a city. And so the real world connections are here. And the fact that we get that these labs use real working data means that we're really focusing on something that STEM teachers carry a lot about, which is data literacy. But they're doing it in a format that is gamified. In addition, game-based learning is also a big component as well, obviously. So there are levels and missions, points and badges for achievements, and a narrative that sort of ties everything together. And here's an example from our cybersecurity lab and also the RNA lab, where in the cybersecurity lab, you're actually it's a tower defense game where you have to defend your tech startup company against cyber attacks. And you do that by completing challenges around phishing scams, around password cracking and coding. In addition, the RNA lab is designed after the very popular sort of puzzle, color-coded, like Candy Crush type games. And instead of using like random, pieces of candy, you're using nucleotides. You're bonding them based on the actual bonds and the bond strength of real nucleotides within RNA molecules. And then the third thing is high quality media. I'll just show a quick clip from one of our videos.
Which of these people is most like a hacker, a burglar, a vandal, an inventor, or a spy? The answer completely depends on whom you ask, because the word hacker has taken on all of these meanings and more over the years. But it's the wrong question. It's like asking, is a chisel something you use to break into safes, to deface buildings, or to carve statues? No, the questions we should be asking are, what is hacking and why do people do it? In the broadest possible terms, hacking is creative problem solving that takes advantage of the properties of things in unexpected ways. So when Galileo used curved glass to magnify the stars, that was a hack.
So again, this is sort of the media that we create. I mean, we've been doing this, or creating videos and stories about science for years now, and now we're sort of doing it in a format that's short form, that's usually 3 to 5 minutes, and we create about 4 to 6 videos for each lab that help provide context and explain the major content of each lab. And then the last part is classroom implementation, where we work with educators and support them by creating lesson plans, by doing webinars and workshops at conferences to make sure that these labs are being used in the classroom in the best way possible. And so I'm just going to wrap this up, and again, sort of talking about this is sort of the experience we want to create, where students are predicting solar storms, where they're building RNA molecules, where they're identifying phishing scams, where they're tracing human ancestry, all in a way that's really media rich and that's interactive and gamified. And this has had a great impact. We've had over 500,000 users, players so far, and over 650,000 views on YouTube for our videos, and really great press coverage as well. And what's next, we're looking forward to partnering with iWire. I don't know if Amy Robinson is here, but she's the executive director of iWire, and they're doing really, really great work in mapping 3D neurons of the brain. And yeah, so that's it. And then definitely feel free to reach out to me. The editorial director of Nova Labs and the development producer for Nova, David Condon, is also here. So feel free to ask any of us questions. Thank you so much.